Hi, I'm Jason,
And I'm Stephanie.
and this is Bible on Purpose.
On today's episode, well, I mean, there's a lot of things rolling through my head right now when you talk about the earth being millions of years old, or as opposed to like thousands of years old.
Yeah.
Because Jason, science tells me it's millions of years old. Hi, Jason.
Hi. What you got for me today?
Hey, so today I want to talk about creation. Did God really create everything in 6 days?
Okay.
It's a big one. But I want you to talk about, did this all really happen in 6 days? And how exactly does science play into this?
So,
Do they mesh?
okay.
Do they?
Have you ever been to the creation thing?
I have not.
The one in Kentucky or whatever it is?
Is that the Ark?
Yeah.
I haven't. I've seen pictures and I do have questions.
Okay.
We'll get to those later.
Oh, okay. I don't know what I feel about that, but okay.
Just think on it for a while. I have questions.
Okay. Very good.
When I have questions, it's a little scary, but
Nice.
so stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yes. So I think in order to answer this question, I think the first place we need to go, because the Bible, we believe that the Bible was the divine inspired word of God.
Absolutely.
I also know that God used certain people to write certain things. So we almost need to find, like, who wrote Genesis? Do you know who wrote Genesis?
Moses.
Oh, Moses. Yes, it was Moses. So is there any evidence that God actually showed him what was happening? Or is this just Moses's sort of brain idea? Like he just kind of came up with it on his own?
No, God was showing him.
Okay. So we need to go to Exodus.
That felt like a trick question.
You're already getting defensive.
It felt like a trick question. Like you were trying
No.
to set me up to fail there.
I was not. I would never set you up to fail. We're gonna go to Exodus, okay?
Got it.
And we're gonna hang out in chapter 33 for a minute. So by now they've gone through the Red Sea. They've come across. They've been liberated from Egypt, but now they're in the wilderness. Okay. Moses is having a one-on-one conversation with God. And he's trying to talk to God, and he goes, Lord, if I have found favor in you, he says, I want to see your glory. Show me your glory. Because if you show me what's going on here, then I know that you're the leader. So chapter 33 and I'll start with verse 12.
Okay.
It says, Moses says to the Lord, look, you say to me, make these people move on, but you haven't let me know whom you will be sending with me. Nevertheless, you have said, I know you by name, and also you have found favor in my sight. Now, please, if it's really the case that I have found favor in your sight, show me your ways so that I will understand you and continue finding favor in your sight. Moreover, keep on seeing this nation as your people. And the Lord answered him, set your mind at rest. My presence will go with you after all. So Moses replied, if your presence doesn't go with us, don't make us go from here. For how else is it to be known that I have found favor in your sight, and I and your people, other than by you are going with us? That's what distinguishes us, me and your people, from all the other peoples on the earth. So the Lord says to Moses, I will also do what you have asked me to do, because you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name. But Moses says, I beg you to show me your glory. Now, he doesn't say, if you know this scripture, we think he's saying, show me your face.
Right.
Is not what he's saying. He's saying, show me your glory. So the Lord replied, I will cause all my goodness, and that's huge. He says, I will cause all my goodness to pass before you, and in your presence I will pronounce the name of the Lord. Moreover, I will show favor to whom I will, and I will display mercy to whom I will. But my face, he says, you can't see, because a human being cannot look at me and remain alive.
So that's where we get face.
That's where we get face.
Okay.
We have this idea that Moses asking for God's glory is Moses asking to see his face. And what he's asking from the Lord is, show me your way. Show me the path. Show me the plan. Show me your glory. Show me all your goodness. And so he says, I'm going to cause all my goodness. The only thing you can't see is my face. And he says, there's a place near me, stand on the rock. When my glory passes by, I will put you inside a crevice in the rock, cover you with my hand until I pass by. Then I will remove my hand and you will see my back, but my face is not to be seen. Okay. It's almost like when God's telling him this, he's saying, I'm going to let you see me from behind. I'm going to let you see my rear end.
Got it.
And I'm going, what the heck?
What the heck?
But what God is really saying is, I'm going to show you something in the distant.
Oh, yeah, right.
So there's a Hebrew word, and the Hebrew word is achor. Achor. You got to do the achor. And that word, we've translated it to mean the backside, the hinder part, which it can mean that.
Sure.
But it can also mean something off in the distance.
I have the wrong Bible here. I have this written down from when you taught about it before.
Yeah. So when he shows him something off in the distance, it can mean past. It can mean future. Yeah. So, but he says this to Moses, I'm going to show you all my goodness. In other words, I'm going to show you the whole plan. So now we understand, if Moses is writing Genesis, that the Lord is revealing this stuff to him. Okay.
Right.
But it doesn't end at Genesis. That's the big thing.
Right.
Because he not only sees creation, but he also sees like the secret weapon. Because if you go back and read throughout the rest of the 5 books that Moses wrote, he does prophesy about the coming of Jesus. Well, how did he know about Jesus? Well, the Lord shows him all his goodness. So he shows him not only things in the past, but things in the future. And you go, but Jason, you have no foundation for that. How do you know that God did that? Because if you go into the New Testament, Jesus takes a few disciples and he goes up on this mountain. And all of a sudden, some things begin to happen. And who appears? Moses and Elijah. But Moses. And God, the voice of God comes down and he says and there are 3 disciples of Jesus, and they're only there, they're listening. But as Jesus is conferring with Moses and Elijah, this voice comes down and says, this is my son whom I love. Listen to him. We often think that's just instruction for the disciples, but it's not. It's instruction for Moses and Elijah. Why would they need the instruction if they're already dead? But God brought them forward in time in a vision to see Jesus. So God revealed all of his goodness to Moses on that day in the rock. So Moses got to see from beginning to end what the master plan was, which is something I was
going to say, wouldn't you love to see the master plan?
Wouldn't you love to be Moses?
Right. I don't know. Yes, I would. In that situation. But like, if you think about like right now, if someone told me like you could see your entire life all the way through, would you want to do it?
I don't know if I'd want to see I'd be afraid that it would be done too soon.
Right. Like, I think that what Moses was shown is awesome, but my own life, I'm not sure I want to see all of that. Right.
To the very personal. But you begin to see the whole master plan. That's pretty cool.
That is
now
super
Moses. Cool. I don't believe Moses ever saw the final coming, the end time stuff.
Right.
But I think that Moses saw the plan.
Right.
So he got to see what was in the beginning. He got to see what the climactic thing was. Like, this is what's going to happen. But this is like maybe he did see, because, and we'll get to that in a minute, why maybe he did. Maybe he did see the end. So Genesis 1.
Genesis 1. I'm there.
It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was unformed and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God hovered over the surface of the water. I'm going to pause there for a minute.
Okay.
So my mom and I were talking the other day, and she asked me a big question. If God is eternal, which we believe he is, he has no beginning and he has no end. And she confessed that too. Since if God is eternal, where was he before the beginning of the heavens and the earth?
Right.
And that's because that's unfathomable,
Right.
for us to think about. And I think I've often questioned that too. The thing that I ended up saying to her was, I think to confine God to a place, to say, well, God was over here.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. So I don't think that he could have just been one place all at once. But then I made this comment, and it was a random thought that just came to me, and I have no spiritual backing for this. I have no scriptural backing for this.
Okay.
But John in Revelation, he sees a glimpse of the heavenly throne. Do you know where I'm going with this? And when he sees the throne, he sees in front of it, he sees this sea of glass. And he makes that known, what looks like a sea of glass. And I'm sure there's people out there who have studied the sea of glass and know and could probably tell us what that's all about. But I'm looking at that going, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was unformed and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. But the Spirit of God hovered over the waters. And I'm going, is that waters? Is that what the sea of glass is? And everything was perfect.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so God looked down from his throne. And
Interesting thought process there.
Right. And so God can go, because the sea of glass could be, the universe, galaxies, whatever we think of it. And I'm going, okay, if I was God and I'm on my throne and I have this sea of glass, could I just go, let's going to sprinkle some stars here and some planets here. We're going to put the sun here. And but the whole, the centerpiece of it all is this thing called Earth. Centerpiece meaning this is where my heart is to create this thing called Earth. So I was just thinking, man, could that be?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought process.
But anyway.
And also, this maybe, when you say sea of glass, I guess I wasn't thinking like smooth, like a frozen lake. Like I wasn't thinking like that. I was thinking broken glass. That's why I was like, wait, what? Where are you going with this?
I think his description of glass is because it was just so clear.
Sure. That makes more sense. I just don't know why my brain went the other way.
And a lot of other people say, well, when you get to heaven or the New Jerusalem or whatever, and they talk about streets of gold in its purest form looks like glass.
Okay.
So maybe that's what, but I'm throwing the thought out there.
I like it. Is
that because he hovers over the waters, his spirit hovers over the waters. And I just have this vision that he's up there and his throne, beneath his throne is this sea of glass. And I'm going,
it's beautiful imagery to think about it like that.
Yeah. And that he's watching over everything. Anyway.
We'll see, I guess.
We'll see. Then God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And then there was evening and morning, day one. Okay, so the darkness and the light, I don't believe was actual physical
Sure.
I believe there was chaos and darkness. And there was absence of God, and yet his spirit was hovering over it. But God said, I need to put my spirit in it. So let there be light.
Okay.
And the reason I get that is because John 1 says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And it says, and the Word was, how'd that word? The Word was life that was light to men.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, think about it. Everywhere else in the Bible, when you talk about light,
right?
You're talking about Jesus and goodness and whatever. So that definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So day one was bringing order to everything. Mm-hmm. Then God said, let there be a dome in the middle of the water. Let it divide water from water. God made the dome and divided the water under the dome from the water above the dome. That's how it was. And God called the dome sky. And there was evening and there was morning, a second day. Then God said, let water. And now, by the way, to kind of throw preface to this, because we're trying to answer the question, was there a 6-day creation? Mm-hmm. Literally.
Right.
The part of you wants to go, well, if God spoke it and it just happened, like, why didn't he just do everything in one day?
Right.
Like, I think I'll go, okay, plant, stars.
Right. Like it's not beyond what he would be capable of doing.
Right. So you're tempted to ask that question, and of which I would have no answer to, except for when we get to, was this really a 6-day creation? Mm-hmm. Okay. The look that you're giving me is funny.
No, I'm just taking it in.
So God said, let the water under the sky be gathered together in one place, and let dry land appear. And that is how it was. And God called the dry land earth. And the gathering together of the water he called the seas. And God saw that it was good. God said, let the earth put forth grass, seed-producing plants, and fruit trees, each yielding its own kind of seed-bearing fruit on the earth. And that's how it was. The earth brought forth grass, plants, each yielding its own kind of seed, and trees, each producing its own kind of seed-bearing fruit. And God saw that it was good. So there was evening and there was morning, a third day. And then God said, let there be lights in the dome of the sky to divide the day from the night. Let them be for signs, seasons, and days and years. Let them be for lights in the dome of the sky to give light to the earth. And that is how it was. God made the 2 great lights, the larger light to rule the day and the smaller light to rule the night and the stars. So there you see the sun and the moon. Okay. God put them in the dome of the sky to give light to the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. So there was evening and there was morning, a 4th day. Then God said, let the water swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth in the open dome of the sky. God created the great sea creatures and every living thing, that creeps, so that the water swarmed with all kinds of them. And there was every kind of winged bird, and God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, fill the water of the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth. There was evening, and there was morning, a 5th day. Okay, I want to stop there. Mm-hmm. When God says, this is interesting, this is a side tidbit, by the way. When God talks about the living creatures, he said, God created them, all kinds of them, and there was every kind of thing, and he saw it was good. I got to get to verse, 24. God said, let the earth bring forth each kind of living creature, each kind of livestock, crawling animal and beast, wild beast, and that's how it was. God made every kind of wild beast, each kind of livestock, and every kind of animal that crawls on the ground, and God saw that it was good. This translation doesn't say it. Some translations say that all the creatures were made in their own image.
Mine doesn't. I don't think mine says that either. Oh, no, it does. God. No, mine doesn't say that either. No, because I'm down to let us make man in our own image.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then when he gets to verse 26, he says, let us make humankind in our image, in the likeness of ourselves. And let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, the animals, and all over the earth, and over every crawling creature that crawls on the earth. So God created humankind in his own image, and in the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea, the birds in the air, and every living creature that crawls on the earth. Then God said, here, throughout the whole earth, I am giving you as food every seed-bearing plant, in every tree with seed-bearing fruit, and to every wild animal, bird in the air, and creature crawling on the earth, in which there is a living soul, I am giving as food every kind of green plant. And that is how it was. God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So there was evening and there was morning, a sixth day. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's what I want to talk about, and here's why I brought that up about everything in its own image and then man in God's image.
Okay.
Because elsewhere in the Bible, it says, don't you know that we are being created in the image of God? Mm. So that process doesn't seem to be done yet.
Actively.
It's all active. My personal belief here is that we are living out Genesis 1. Mm. And here's why. When you go into Genesis chapter 2, it says, thus the heavens and the earth were finished. Mm-hmm. And that Hebrew word for finished, when you dive into the Hebrew text, the Hebrew word for finished is kala. Mm-hmm. And kala literally means that it comes to its end.
Okay.
Like we often think it's just come to its fullness. Uh-huh. Like when something's complete, like you go, oh, I just made this car. Mm-hmm. And the car is complete. Now it can be driven and whatever.
Right.
Instead, what it's saying is, oh, made the car, used it, it's time to destroy it. Uh-huh. So the Hebrew word here for finished is kala, which means it has come to its end. It's done. It's over with. Mm. So now that's why I'm saying we talked about Moses seeing the end of the end. Maybe he did see the end of the end. Or maybe he caught at least the general idea of, right, here's the earth, it was created, and this was the plan all along, was all this was supposed to happen, and man was going to be made in God's image, and man was going to rule over and subdue the earth. That's how it was. Thus, after all is said and done, the heavens and the earth are done. Complete.
Interesting.
Well, when you go further into chapter 2, and this answers the 6-day thing, I think, could God have made the earth in 6 days? I believe he spoke everything into existence in 6 days. And that's different.
That's different than everything being, full-grown plants and, I don't know, multiple, like, whole colonies of critters.
I believe that God spoke everything into existence in the 6 days, but I don't think that everything was to its fullness in the 6 days.
Okay.
And here's why I say that. Verse 4 in chapter 2 says, here's the history of the heavens and the earth when they were created. On the day when the Lord God made the earth and the heaven, there was yet no wild bush on the earth. Well, no, wait a minute. Just in chapter 1, it says that there was.
Right. And no plant of the field had yet sprouted.
And yet no plant had sprouted. Because, what did it say? God had not caused
rain to fall upon the earth.
Well, rain didn't come till who?
Noah.
Noah was on down the line.
Yeah, he's a ways in.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. And things don't grow without rain.
But it says that he caused a dew to come up from the ground. So that was the only way that things could grow. But Moses made a point to say nothing had come out because God hadn't sent the rain yet. Think about when the earth was created, because this is huge. Mm-hmm. When the earth was created, it says it was darkness, void, without form, but there was still water, right? The Spirit of God, verse 1, the Spirit of God hovered over the water. Or verse 2, the Spirit of God hovered over the surface of the water. Mm-hmm. Then think about when God flooded the earth. What was left? Water. Mm-hmm. And then from there, when the waters receded, a new earth came to be. There's scientific evidence that all the land masses were one
Connected. Right.
which they call that Pangea.
Right.
In fact, I think Noah names, or somebody names a child something similar to that. The Hebrew word for that, because during that time, the land, it admits it, the land was all one mass.
So here's where your science and it's coming together.
It's coming together. So you see that the land then breaks off somehow after this flood. Okay. And then now you have all of these continents and whatever else. And Noah now has to, repopulate the earth. Or Noah's family has to repopulate the earth. But the point is, it started with water.
Right.
And then after the flood, the rains continued to come. It's not like, we experience rain today.
I was say it's raining right now.
Right. So we experience all of that today, and those processes have not ceased. And so the ground continues to grow and it continues to sprout. We continue to have our seasons. We continue to have the time of dying and then rebirth and, all of those things. But all of that, I believe, is in Genesis chapter 1. I believe all of that is what we're living out right now. So I believe that Genesis chapter 1 is what do I want to call it? I believe that Genesis chapter 1 is a dual meaning. You have a literal 6-day creation where God spoke things into existence. Doesn't mean they came to their fullness. But then you also, I believe that God is speaking about time in general. So I don't know. Many people believe that the earth is millions and millions and millions and millions of years old. And that's through carbon dating and some of the scientific things. Then there are people who believe that the earth isn't so old. And so it's more likely that the earth is maybe 6,000-7,000 years old.
Interesting.
You have a look on your face. If the people could only see.
Well, there's a lot of things rolling through my head right now when you talk about the earth being millions of years old, or as opposed to like thousands of years old.
Yeah.
Because Jason, science tells me it's millions of years old. And there were these giant things that roam the earth that I want to ask you about that are also on the ark. Do you know what they are?
Oh, I have my thought.
What about the dinosaurs, man?
What about the dinosaurs?
We know they existed.
Because we found
bones.
What else have we found when it comes to dinosaurs? Tell me a little bit about the bones.
Well, they're fossils.
Right, that's the key word.
Okay. They're fossils. We found footprints, eggs.
So I am not obviously a scientist.
You're not?
What?
Are you kidding me?
But here's what I can say. Like, you would have to go through the different layers of the earth. And then you would also look at fossilizations, right? Here's the thing about fossilization, and I'm sure somebody can get on here and try to debunk it. But from everything that I have learned about fossilization, it takes water for things to be fossilized.
Okay.
Which tells me that a lot of the creatures that were around either were destroyed by water, or they were destroyed before the water.
Okay.
And then the water is what caused the fossilization. But how do you get water throughout the whole earth if there wasn't a flood? Right?
Are you sure?
And most people who believe in the fact that the earth was millions and millions of years old, they don't always recognize the flood. But ancient civilizations, ancient cultures did. Every culture in ancient civilization has a story of the flood.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here and I'm going, dinosaurs. the reason you're finding fossilization is because there was water involved somewhere along the line. Mm-hmm. Which tells me, and if I had the question for you, what about, how do we know that they were reptile?
Well, a quick Google search tells me it has to do with bone structure, specifically the skull.
Yeah.
The fact that they have found eggs and nests and some preserved skin, which is strange to me, but it happened.
So here's the deal. If skin was preserved, because if you bury, I hate to be very morbid, but go dig up your ancestor who's been in the ground for 200 years.
No thanks.
You're not going to find
Skin.
You're not going to find what they're finding on these. You're not going to find fossilized bone.
No?
No.
Okay.
Go dig up your ancestor that's been vaulted. You're definitely not going to find fossilized.
I don't want to do any of that.
But here's what I'm saying. If there was a preservation of skin on some of these animals,
Yes.
that means that it didn't have time to deteriorate. It had time to fossilize, which means water got to it before it could deteriorate.
Okay. And that is scientist Vandemark right there.
Oh my gosh. But that is saying that these creatures, if they are finding remnants of skin, that some of these creatures died in a flood or died near the flood.
Okay, that's fair.
Which means you can predate dinosaurs to around the time of Noah.
So that's why they're on the ark.
I don't know what all went on the ark.
I
have some bones to pick with Noah if he put mosquitoes on the ark.
Oh, no. Rude. That was really rude. We should visit that because I need to see what they say.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying take my word for it here, but in all honesty, everything that I've studied about fossilization is that it needs water. In order to have any sort of fossilization, there has to be the element of water.
Okay. Listen, you've given me something to think about. Never considered it. Always taken it at face value that we're talking about millions of years.
Right.
And I don't know.
Regardless what your view is, whether it's a 6,000, 7,000-year-old Earth or whether it's millions of years old, one thing that I can safely say to you is that I believe that God did create it. I believe that it's very plausible he created the Earth in 6 days. But I believe that that he spoke things into existence. Because, again, when we go into chapter 2, Moses very plainly says, now nothing had sprouted yet.
Right. So like a freshly planted field.
Right.
Got it. Very interesting.
So anyway, I believe that it's very plausible. I don't believe that just so happened that two atoms collided and then we have everything that we have today. I just don't. That's me.
Sure.
And I understand that can be controversial, and I understand that there are people who could potentially be listening who go, well, yeah, it could happen. It could have happened that way. But okay. I just believe that there was an intelligence behind it.
Sure.
And I believe that that there is a benevolent God who has the power and the authority and the ability to create said heavens and earth by even speaking it into existence.
Jason, I have one more question for you.
Yep.
Do you think that God spent a little extra time on me?
I think that
or
you
maybe not enough time.
Jury's out on that one.
And this is the last podcast we do together.
No, it's not. You opened yourself up for that one.
I'm kidding.
I was 2 weeks late, so God had to spend some extra time. I think I was anyway.
Your poor mom.
I know. He looked down. He's like, "Oh, that's not good.
Not ready.
Not ready." Oh, man.
Oh, goodness.
So do you think that answers the question a little bit? Or at
I
least
do.
it just gives something?
Yeah, it does. It definitely gives me something else to think about too. And I'm sure others as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway.
That's a good goal. Good question.
Good.
Good study. You've been listening to Bible on Purpose with Jason and Stephanie. Join us next time.